If you've ever wondered where you actually stand financially, you are in the right place before we start to hit the subscribe button. Let's be real, most people have no idea what upper class actually means. They see fancy cars and big houses and assume that's wealth. But true upper class status in America in 2026 is defined by something most people never talk about openly. It's not your salary. It's not your job title. It's your net worth, the number left when you subtract everything you owe from everything you own. And that number tells a story that your paycheck never could. So let's start with the basics of where Americans actually stand right now. The median American household net worth sits somewhere around $192,000. That means half of American households have more than that and half have less. Sounds decent, right? But here's where it gets interesting. That number is heavily skewed by age, race, education, and location. A 25-year-old with $192,000 in net worth is doing exceptionally well. A 55-year-old with that same number is behind where they need to be. Context matters enormously when we talk about these numbers. Now let's talk about what it actually takes to be considered upper class in 2026. According to financial research and wealth distribution data, the upper class in the United States generally starts at a net worth of around $1 million. But here's the thing, $1 million in 2026 is not what it used to be. Inflation has quietly eaten away at what that number actually means in real life. $1 million in 2000 had the purchasing power of nearly $1.8 million today. So if you're sitting at exactly 1 million, you're at the entry point, but you're not living like you might imagine a millionaire lives. To be comfortably upper class in today's America, most financial analysts point to a net worth of $2.5 million or higher. At that level, you have real options. You're not stressed about a single medical bill wiping you out. You're not one layoff away from panic. Your money is working for you in ways that most people only read about in books. Investments, real estate, retirement accounts, they're all stacked and growing while you sleep. That's what separates upper class from simply being comfortable. But wait, there's actually a tier above that. Researchers and economists often break the upper class into two distinct groups: the lower upper class, sometimes called the mass affluent, and the true upper class. The mass affluent typically have net worths between $1 million and $5 million. These are your successful doctors, lawyers, business owners, and senior executives. They live well, they vacation often, and they rarely stress about monthly bills. But they are still, in many ways, one catastrophic event away from a financial setback. The true upper class, the group that has real generational security, typically holds a net worth of $5 million and above. At this level, financial stress essentially disappears from daily life. These households don't think about the price of groceries. They think about things like estate planning, trust funds, and how to pass wealth to the next generation without losing a huge chunk to taxes. They're not just wealthy, they're building dynasties. And that distinction is important to understand. Now here's something that will surprise a lot of people watching this video right now. You might actually be closer to the upper class than you think, or further away than you assumed. A lot of Americans who earn high salaries, $200,000 or more per year, are not upper class by net worth standards. They drive expensive cars with payments, they live in big homes with massive mortgages, they spend nearly everything they earn and save very little. This is called being income rich but asset poor. And it's far more common in America than anyone wants to admit publicly. Hit that subscribe button right now because we're about to get into the part that most financial channels skip completely. On the flip side, there are plenty of people in America who never earned six figures in their life but quietly accumulated upper-class net worths through decades of disciplined saving and smart investing. The teacher who maxed out her retirement account every single year for 35 years. The plumber who bought rental properties slowly over 2 decades. The factory worker who never touched his stock portfolio during every market crash. These people don't look wealthy from the outside. But their net worth tells a completely different story about their financial reality. This is exactly why net worth is the only honest measure of financial class in America. Income is what you earn. Net worth is what you keep, build, and grow over time. The two numbers can look completely different for the same person depending on their habits, their discipline, and their financial decisions over years and decades. And the gap between people who understand this and people who don't is growing wider every single year. Now let's talk about age, because this is a crucial context. If you're in your 30s and you have a net worth of $500,000, you are doing extremely well for your age group. By your 50s, upper class entry-level numbers start around $1 to $1.5 million. By retirement age, truly upper class Americans typically have $3 million or more in total assets. These benchmarks shift because time is the most powerful wealth building tool that exists. The earlier you start building, the more your money compounds and the more dramatically your net worth can grow over decades. Another thing people get wrong about upper class wealth is assuming it's mostly tied up in income or cash. In reality, upper class net worth is usually made up of three main things: real estate equity, investment portfolios including retirement accounts and brokerage accounts, and ownership stakes in businesses. Very little of it is cash sitting in a savings account. Wealthy people understand that cash loses value over time due to inflation. So they keep their money in assets that grow, generate income, and protect their purchasing power over the long run. Here's another reality check that most people aren't prepared to hear. The wealth gap in America is not just big, it's accelerating. The top 10% of Americans by net worth hold roughly 67% of all household wealth in the country. The top 1% alone holds about 30%. That means the other 90% of Americans are sharing just 33% of the total national wealth. These numbers paint a picture that is stark, uncomfortable, and important to sit with honestly if you're serious about understanding where you truly stand. So how do you actually calculate your net worth right now? It's simpler than people make it sound. Add up everything you own: your home value, your car, your retirement accounts, your brokerage accounts, your savings, any business equity, any other property. Then add up everything you owe: your mortgage balance, car loans, student loans, credit card balances, personal loans, anything else outstanding. Subtract the second number from the first. The result is your net worth. That single number is your financial truth, no matter what your lifestyle looks like from the outside. And if your number isn't where you want it to be right now, here's the most important thing to understand. Net worth is not a fixed destiny, it's a direction. The people who end up in the upper class in their 50s and 60s did not get there overnight. They made consistent decisions over long periods of time. They lived below their means even when they could have spent more. They invested money even when the market scared them. They bought assets instead of liabilities, and they stayed patient when impatience was tempting. The habits are simple to understand. The difficulty is actually sticking to them for years when the results feel invisible. Wealth in America in 2026 is absolutely still buildable for ordinary people who understand the rules and play the long game. The upper class is not a club that only accepts people born into money. It's a destination that disciplined financial behavior can take you to over time. The number you need to get there is clear. The path is not a secret. What separates the people who arrive from the people who don't is almost always the same thing: consistency, patience, and the decision to start today instead of waiting for a perfect moment that never comes.